Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. I am your host, Tamara. Today we are discussing our March buddy read thriller title. If you would like to see this in video format without ad breaks, you need to head on over to Patreon and sign up. Along with ad-free video podcast episodes, you'll gain access to after shows, reading vlogs, and other exclusive content. If you're not into Patreon and you happen to be listening on the Spreaker app, you too can have access to the after shows and other exclusive content in audio only. If you prefer video, including reading vlogs, you should check out Patreon instead. Join me and my two co-hosts over on the Book Club's app for even more book chats. Please subscribe and like the podcast wherever you're listening. If you want to reach out to me, you can find me pretty much everywhere at Shelf Addiction. Joining me today is featured co-host Classy from the Bookish Virtual Assistant. Welcome back, Classy.
Hey, Tamara. Thanks again for the welcome back.
As always.
You always say always, yeah. But I'm always happy to be here.
Yes, I'm happy you're here too. Tell everyone where they can find you online.
You can find me at the Bookish Virtual Assistant on X, Facebook and Instagram, and Classy Green on those same platforms.
All right. So before we get started, as always with book chats, we would like to remind you that we talk full spoilers here. So spoiler alert, you have been warned. It's in your best interest to read the book first, unless you don't care. Today we are discussing the book The Intern, written by Michelle Campbell. The audiobook is narrated by Sarah Mola Christensen. The book was published on October 3rd, 2023 by St. Martin's Press and Macmillan Audio. The hardcover comes in at 378 pages, and the unabridged audio is 11 hours and 9 minutes. Classy, would you kindly share the synopsis?
Absolutely. Madison Rivera lands the internship of a lifetime, working for Judge Catherine Conroy. But Madison has a secret that could destroy her career. Her troubled younger brother Danny has been arrested, and Conroy is the judge on his case. When Danny goes missing after accusing the judge of corruption, Madison's quest for answers brings her deep into the judge's glamorous world. Is Catherine Conroy a mentor, a victim, or a criminal? Is she trying to help Madison or use her as a pawn? And why is somebody trying to kill her? As the two women circle each other in a dangerous cat and mouse game, will they save each other, or will betrayal leave one of them dead?
Okay.
Doom, doom, doom.
Doom, doom, doom. So I listened to the audiobook as we usually do. Did you do audiobook as well?
I did.
All right. So I finished this morning. I got back from out of the country on Tuesday night, and unfortunately, I didn't have a chance to start before then. So it was Wednesday morning I started, and today is Friday. So I finished it pretty quickly, which is good.
Yeah.
Did it take you a minute to finish, or was it fast for you?
I think what happened with me, it wasn't bad.
Mm-hmm.
After a while, I kept looking, because I listened at 1.5. I should have did 1.8.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't increase it. But I
did.
Damn. I was like,
it's slow.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I still got 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was like, this is taking forever, because I didn't really look at how many hours this was. But I finished it today, and
okay.
Yeah.
Let's jump in. High level. Give me your thoughts. It's on the tip of your tongue. I can see it.
I have book hangover.
You do?
I do, because after what we read these last 2 books, is, remember, we did an impromptu, The First Light Wins, and then our book before, which was A Closer Look, right?
Mm-hmm.
By David Ellis. I was kind of like, because this was also a legal kind of thriller. Well, it was not a kind of, it was a legal thriller. And I had a little book hangover, because I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
it was an enjoyable ride, but I'm still processing. Like, I'm not sure exactly how I feel yet. And I know sometimes when we get to talking and discussing,
it comes out.
it comes out,
Yeah.
but I'm still like processing this. Like, did I like it or did I not? You know, have
That's
you had
fair.
that feeling?
I had that
Before?
feeling on this book.
Okay.
It's not just you, because
Okay.
honestly, so when I finished the book, I said, well, that's nice.
You know what? that sigh you just did,
Yeah, that's how I
is
felt.
exactly how I felt at the end, because I was,
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, I guess that's cute. But okay, so I think my biggest problem, just off the top of my head, is that I knew exactly what was happening the entire time. Like nothing
yeah,
was surprising.
right. Wasn't it? It felt like I was just going through the motions of this book till I got to the end. So yeah, like you were saying, and when you got to the end, you were like, okay,
Mhm.
that's about what I expected.
Mhm.
I mean, there was a little twist and turn, but I wasn't like blown away,
No. Not
you
even a little
know?
bit.
Um, so I mean, and I guess I can preface this with, because I did a little research, on the book too after reading it,
Okay.
because Michelle usually does more psychological thriller,
Mhm.
suspense kind of, and this is a legal thriller.
Mhm.
Come to find out, and I think we knew this before, but it's been a while since we read a Michelle. Well, we've done a buddy read of Michelle Campbell.
Right.
She's a former prosecutor.
Yes.
She's a lawyer. And her first series that she wrote under her full name is Michelle Martinez Campbell.
Mhm.
She did legal thrillers.
Mhm.
And then she went into the psychological mystery kind of field.
Mhm.
And she said with this one, she wanted to get back into her legal thriller kind of field. She missed it.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I'm
I
sure
think I
she did
like,
miss it, but
yeah.
that
I
doesn't
don't
mean you
know.
should publish it. Okay,
Yeah.
so this is where, so just a little bit on Michelle Campbell, if you don't know. From her bio, she graduated from Harvard College and Stanford Law School, as
Mhm.
well as her being a former prosecutor. So you can tell she tried to pull from her experience, because this character, Madison, went to an Ivy, so did the judge. They went to
Yep.
Harvard, and they were, well, at least the judge was a prosecutor at first, and then she became a judge. But I am not a lawyer. I've never been a lawyer. I did not go to an Ivy League school, but some of it still felt a little off to me. And when I went digging around in the reviews, as one does, as I do, I found some people who did not like a lot of how she wrote it, as lawyers themselves, as Ivy
Mm.
League people themselves. They were like, this is not how things work. I
Oh.
thought she's a lawyer. What is she talking about?
Right, because that's what I was thinking. Like, okay, so because I did too. I did a
Mm-hmm.
little research too, and I'm just like, I saw some people that said, "Oh, this is far fetched," and blah blah. I'm not like, but she's a fucking lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
because life is stranger than fiction, y'all.
Right.
I'm just gonna say, some of the things that we think are far fetched are not as far fetched as we think.
True.
I just saw an article today that I was just like, what the fuck?
Mm-hmm.
And this was real life. But I did read too where she said that I think Madison was like really her, was
Mm-hmm.
based on her character.
Hmm.
But I didn't see the stuff that you were talking about, where some Harvard.
I'm gonna
Wow,
quote
come on,
one. I'm gonna
spill the
quote it.
tea.
So Jenna on Goodreads says, my mistake in picking up this book was that I am written like a true law student, a law student, B, in Boston, and C, have interned for a federal judge before. Based on my experiences, this was too much suspension of disbelief and too many incorrect facts about the layout or vernacular of Boston, but also the federal judiciary and how it works. for me to enjoy this book.
And you know what? And all of this is too, like, of everybody's different viewpoints. Because she too was a Ivy League law person. But you also wonder, when it comes time to writing, how much do they have to, what am I trying to say? To kind of fabricate to make it sound more interesting. Because I also found Madison to be fucking annoying.
She was.
Okay, I'm gonna start. She annoyed the fuck out of me. She was smart, but it was like,
she was a crybaby. I'm like, what is she doing? What is she talking about? Like, what?
Because I'm like, you're so smart, but you're
dumb.
She
is dumb. She got 0 street smarts. 0.
Because I'm like, how do you lie? I get impressing, but you say, yeah, I'm an only child too. To network, to get ahead. And I was just like, some of this stuff was just,
it seems out of character for that character. She was supposed to be so straight and narrow. Then she just lets a lie just slide out of her mouth like that. Like, that doesn't seem
right. And to be in that field, you know what I mean? Like, with me, I can see that happening because I'm not a law student. I'm not on the top of my level where I'm studying law cases. And when the judge or whoever, my professor, asks me questions, I'm on top of my shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can ask me and I'd be like, yep, and I'd be like, oh shit, oops. I just fucked up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
But that was one of the things that she annoyed me with. And I'm just like, how can you be that bright and then slip up that easily with, that simple lie of saying you were an only child, knowing that could probably come back and bite you in the ass big time.
And I mean, not only that, but before that, to me, it became really annoying for me almost immediately right out the gate. She goes with her mother to see her brother.
Oh my God.
And her brother is trying to tell them what happened. And she's delulu, like, no, not that. No, not her, not the judge. She would never. She is my role model. You're lying, basically.
Like, right. Corruption is rampant.
She act like it's not. She's like, everybody is above board. No one would do that. That's not how it works.
No. Danny.
Like, okay, you are dumb. You never see. Oh man, she is really missing some screws. She is really in her own dream world.
Yeah.
And that's not
really
cute.
Was. It was not. It was not. And here you have this guy who literally is like, I just got my ass beat up in here. And you gonna act like that doesn't happen either?
Right. You like, I just beat myself up for fun. Oh my God.
He told me to confess. Why would you just confess?
He didn't think he had a choice.
He's a little brown man.
Yeah.
He is a Puerto Rican fella. He is not white. You know this shit happens. Madeline or Madison or whatever. Madison.
Yeah.
Come on, ma'am.
Which was weird. I almost would have preferred Madison to be fully aware of how effed up things are and to have tackled that in a more direct manner, like her mother wanted. I think I would have liked that more out of the character, for her to intend to try to get a job to get close to the judge.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, on purpose.
Exactly.
Like, I'm on purpose trying to deceive you.
Right. Because I know I know how corrupt you guys are. And I know how you will use a minority to
take the fall.
Yes. To take the fall for what you're doing. Yeah. Because that's at first what I thought they were, what was happening. Like, oh, here they found a pansy, which they did. But like you were saying, if it would have came off like that, like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this job just so I can find out how corrupt, what the fuck you guys are doing to my little brother.
Yeah. And instead she's like, oh, I just want to get this job and maybe I can ask some questions, but it's probably.
And my mentor that I've been loving since I was in high school, and she gave this beautiful speech.
Mm-hmm. Like, she waited for the judge to prove her wrong instead of her being suspicious of the judge. The judge had to prove her wrong. Like, she wholeheartedly did not think that woman did anything crazy all the way up until she was. I'm like, did she drug you?
She darn near pulled the fucking gun on her. And then she was like,
she like, what?
Are you gonna pull the gun on me? Yes, bitch.
Yes.
I don't know. I saw you had gone to the FBI. You were talking to the feds.
Yeah.
All this time, she is still putting this woman on a pedestal, even though she knew that she was being used.
She knew because, hello, you got this creepy cop, dirty cop sneaking around outside. You got somebody following you. You got she knew. She found photos, evidence, and she's still trying to give her
money in the toilet.
Right. You're snooping.
Anytime you have to go research, what did she research? How to hide evidence or something? And she goes and looks in the toilet and there's wads of money.
The very first time she goes to the judge's house, they go out to dinner. She's drinking sake. I'm like, is she drunk or did she drug her? At first, I couldn't tell what was going on. Right. They get to the judge's house. She's like, hey, can you scooch down in the chair so no one can see you? They go in. She's serving her up some wine. She's getting kind of tipsy. And I'm like, wait, something is wrong? You don't think anything is wrong with this? What is happening?
Right. And all that security, and she's looking over her shoulder. And I'm just like, And all of a sudden, you want me to watch the fucking cat? Ding, 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 ding. Red flag.
For $1,000 a weekend?
Red flag.
And oh, by the way, don't open the door for anybody.
Red flag. I'm about to Reese-a-Tisa this.
Yeah.
What is it? The American Nation or whatever she called it, red flags? Red flags.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
warning, all over the place.
Warning. For a cat.
All over the place, one after another. And she just kept on. And that was so irritating to me.
Yeah.
And
for you to be that darn smart and not just that, a law student. You know what I mean? Like, this is what you look for this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You are looking for indiscrepancies.
Yeah. And I think that's where the author made a big mistake with the character.
Yeah.
She could have written that completely different, and we could have had so much respect for Madison for her trying to do the right thing instead of her being such a pushover.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even to the very end, end, she is still.
I know.
I'm not jumping in no river for you in the ice.
Don't, girl.
Bet you crazy. I'm not jumping down
here. That. Bookmark that, because that was one of my things too. I was just like, what the fuck?
Right. I'm not letting your half brother shoot at me. Get out of here.
And your creepy uncle
/
whatever the fuck he was giving me perv all day.
He loved her mother though.
Yeah, but he was like borderline pedophile to me.
Really?
Oh, with your looks and your blah blah blah, you go far. And I'm like, is he gonna pimp her out?
No, he did pimp her out legally.
Yes.
He said, I'm about to make some money. You gonna pay me back for all this schooling I paid for.
He creeped me out. He was like, at one point I was like, is he? I was looking for content warnings. I was like, is this gonna be something else? Not just because he paying for college and oh yeah, there's more ways you can pay me back. I was like, whoa.
Look, the first time she says after she graduates from her undergrad, she goes, oh, I don't know how I could ever thank you. Or maybe it was her law school. No, because she's in law school. So it was her undergrad. She had her undergrad.
Yes.
And the mother was like, thank him for she's waving the diploma. And she's like, oh, thank you, uncle, whatever. I don't know how I can pay you back. And he's like, don't worry about it.
I know.
I'm sure we'll think of something. I'm like, oh, God.
Yes. I was just like, oh, what is going on here? Because
Lesson
I mean,
number
it
one.
felt right because I felt it was some grooming going on. But granted, it was for um organized crime,
Mm-hmm.
but it was kind of skeevy, and I wasn't sure exactly where she was going with that. But yeah, he gave me pedophile vibes at first. And granted, yes, he did love her mother. But the mother loved his friend more than, well, she didn't even love Uncle Ray at all. That was her boss, and he creeped her out. Dandruff and bald head, and yeah. But I did feel sorry at one point for Catherine because she was a victim. They used her from the beginning
Mm-hmm.
for everything. And she was groomed. Ray found an opportunity where, hey, if I, convince her to work in the law field and with her, like he kept
Because he
saying,
was a
with your
lawyer. He
looks,
was a crooked
yeah,
lawyer.
yes. And he kept saying, with your looks and blah, blah, blah. Basically, we could go far, girl.
Yeah, we're going beyond this. Well,
Yes.
first off, he pretty much, now here is also Catherine being a little naive. She's like, I am so good at what I do. I became a judge. He like, look, girl, you had help. You had help.
People in high
I
places
greased
got you here.
palms. We paid money and they want their return on their investment.
Yeah, you smart and all,
But not
but
he said a lot of people are smart. What makes you so special?
basically, yeah.
And so after that, he's like, well, look, you're going to live in this house. You're going to do what we say. And we're going to pave the way. You may be able to be a senator or a governor. Or, he's like thinking even bigger.
Yeah. Now those things, and I'm not sure what these reviews said. I possibly could believe, because when you start thinking about how people get into these high positions, this is probably how it's been done. But yeah, there were just some things that just seemed over the top, and like you were saying, from the reviews you read from Harvard law students who have served under judges, there was just some weird things like Nancy.
So Nancy, let's talk about Nancy. So from the very beginning, I knew something was off with Nancy. I'm
Yeah,
like, why is she
a
like
pivotal.
watching her? I mean, like not even watching her, but why is she so protective of her?
Yeah,
That's what it came across as early on.
right.
We have to watch because there was a mole, like she seemed like she was that way. And then I didn't even connect the dots that Nancy was also her stepmother,
Stepmom. Yeah, I didn't either.
her evil stepmother.
Yeah, yeah, I didn't either. Like, well, it wasn't revealed
Until she
um
said no. Was it her wedding when they came up to her, or was it, no, it was someone's funeral. What
oh,
was it?
that we realized who Nancy was.
Yeah, because remember they were standing, I don't know if it was a funeral or something, but they came up to her. Well, Uncle Ray came up to her and he's like, look, you've been fighting this and now they think that I've been coddling you and you have new handlers. Remember that scene? I don't remember what event it was. Oh, it was her mother's fake funeral. It was her mother's fake funeral
Mm,
because he said, look, you lost your husband, you went off to take care of your mother, time to get
yeah,
back to work.
yeah,
And she was like, I refuse. And then he said, look, basically your half brother and your stepmother, your new handlers. And she was like, please no.
yeah. Because she's like, she'll kill Matthew in a minute, basically, because she didn't. Yeah, whew. Yeah. Now that was the one twist that I did not see at all
Mm-hmm.
coming. Even when Madison had broken to Nancy's office
Mm-hmm.
and the connections, and she was talking to Chris Wallace, I still didn't get it. And I was just like, why are they so freaking close?
Mm-hmm.
That was his mom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, this story was um I mean, it gave me, at first it was like, okay, I'm getting some How to Get Away with Murder vibes. I don't know if you remember seeing the movie The Departed. Do you remember that movie?
Kind of, but it's been a really long time.
Yeah, I think it was like early 2000s with
Okay.
I think Leonardo
Yes, he
DiCaprio was in there,
yeah.
and Jack Nicholson,
Yep.
and God, it was somebody else in there. Crooked Cop, Irish, it had that kind of vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And at first I was like, okay, but then it just started getting wonky, and like I said, I had book hangover after going through a closer look. And then the one book we had, I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
something is, like after you read a good one, you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
maybe if I read this first, I don't
Maybe.
know. Maybe I'd had a different viewpoint. But after reading David Ellis's book, and then this one is, I'm just like,
There's a clear line of
different.
what's better.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I felt when I was done with this. I was like, I'm still like trying to figure out.
I was disappointed. I expected more.
Yeah. And then at the end, like all of a sudden Madison is this great swimmer. I'm like, when the fuck did she become a good swimmer? None of this was mentioned.
I'm trying to remember. I think they mentioned her being on the swim team like in high school or something.
Oh, you know what? Because you're right. Because
it was in passing.
Yes, because I think she had to have certain extracurricular activities on her
college applications. Yeah,
to get into her. You're right. But I'm just like, really? She gonna jump in the water with this suit and basically in the cold water?
She's so confident. And then when she gets up there, she like, I don't know, this is a good idea. And then she had no choice because people started shooting at her. She like, oh. I was funny. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me.
It really was. It really was. Because it was at a point where I was and I was like, I had to rewind, like, am I listening?
No, you're right.
Did this just
yep.
Am I hearing this right? She is putting on a wetsuit under this freaking Burberry jacket to jump in the water.
She had to because it's sub-zero. It's winter time.
Yeah. But I'm just like, come on, y'all.
This sounds crazy.
This is how we end this book.
It sounds crazy.
Is this how we gonna go out?
Yeah, that's how they. Yep.
Yeah.
So okay, let's take a quick break because I have comments.
Let's do this.
I have more comments coming. We're gonna kick it off with I have words about this title. So in the meantime, let's take a quick break. You guys, by listening to the commercials, you are supporting the podcast. Don't forget to check out the book review journal available right now on Amazon, and we'll be right back. Today's episode is brought to you by the Shelf Addiction merch store. Check out all the bookish t-shirts, notebooks, mugs, and more. Don't miss out on these original designs, perfect for any book nerd. Support the podcast and visit shelfaddiction.com/merch and pick up your next favorite bookish item. All right, welcome back, everyone. Let's talk just briefly. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about the title, The Intern.
Okay.
To me, when it was all said and done, I was more interested in Catherine's backstory, and because we got more about Catherine. We got the judge's present and past. We had to understand her past to understand where she is now.
Yeah.
The book was mostly about the judge. The book should have been called The Judge. The intern was a far second in the story.
Yep. You are so right. Because at one point it was like, I know I wrote notes on this. Where did my... Like, at first it was like, I wasn't sure why. Because we kind of knew about certain things about Catherine from the current timeline.
Mhm.
But then once they went back and
Mhm.
provided that backstory, it was like, oh,
Yes.
this was not about
Mm-mm.
Madison at all.
No.
Madison was a freaking patsy in this whole story. It was not about Madison. No, it was more about Catherine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're right. The title, it was a ploy, and I'm not
And
even
I don't
sure
like that. I don't like when people name something
Yeah,
as a distraction. So
yeah,
the title was on purpose to have us paying more attention to Madison, or trying to. But I think the author failed in that execution, because it was very clear to me very quickly that this was not about Madison.
nope, not at all. Madison was being used, but this whole story was about this judge who was basically a pawn
She
since
was
age 12.
abused. She was used and abused.
Mm-hmm.
And then, under the guise of having some type of parental figure, she felt pressure and obviously obligation owed for someone helping her with schooling and helping her.
Yeah, for progressing in life.
Yeah.
And had no choice but to pay back a debt that she didn't even realize she had,
Right.
really.
She thought he was helping her out of the kindness of his heart, because he would always brag about her being, his goddaughter,
Mm-hmm.
all these things. And he
Yeah.
was using her.
Yeah.
And I think
Exactly.
maybe it might have started out that way because she was a child. But then when he started to realize how smart she was,
Mm-hmm.
and oh, wait a minute, you're better to go to than going to this public school where the bullshit, you're gonna put you in a private school and I'll pay for it. And he
Right.
started to see the potential she had. His motives changed.
Yeah, it really did. And he encouraged her, you would be a great lawyer. Because she, right after college, she was like, I'm going to go take a year off, tour, travel Europe for a little bit and be a waitress.
Yeah. He like,
And
you
he
gonna do
was,
what? No. Come work
yeah,
at my law firm.
yeah. $10 an hour, you'll be able to pay for that quick. And before you know it, she was under his thumb. Do a favor here, do a favor there. And then she realized, you know what? Every time Uncle Ray has me do a favor, somebody freaking dies.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, he waited a long time to call that favor in. She was a assistant prosecutor before he called in his first favor.
Yeah. Yeah. He really did. And he knew that,
Yeah.
The long game for real.
Mm-hmm.
Just give me a little information. Just this. That's all. And she was, she felt guilty, like, hey, this man paid for my college. You know how expensive that was, blah, blah. And he knew that.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And he took advantage of that. And it's like she was the only person. And I think she was a little bit naive, like Madison, in that way.
Yeah.
Because, like, she knew when she was working for his law firm, stuff isn't quite above board here. Something is not right. Look at all these gangsters coming in here. Like, she knew.
Yeah. Right. Because when she was listening to all those tapes and stuff for the one law firm, she was like, I already know these guys go on walks when they do their talk. You will not
You're
find
not
them
going
in
to
the
catch them.
restaurant.
No. So she knew, but I think she was just so, like I said, naive. She really thought, oh, my Uncle Ray would never try to harm me, until he did.
Yeah. And that's where the similarities now, between her and Madison, like she did see a lot of herself in Madison.
Mm-hmm.
But I did at one point, I was a little confused, like, because at first it was like she pulled Madison into this knowing she was going to use her as a ploy. But then as the story went on, it was kind of like, well, you weren't sure. Like, did she use her as a ploy? Because she didn't really know about Danny until I think Wallace mentioned it. So it was, it was an ulterior motive for her as well. But then it got convoluted with, oh, but you lied. Your brother
Yeah.
is, and that
Yeah.
was, I think, the little part too. Like, it wasn't cohesive with that part
Mhm.
because it was like you brought her in to kind of be, because she looked like you
Mhm.
except for the red hair, and you were
Mhm.
going to use her
Mhm.
so you could basically kind of get to your mom and your daughter,
Yeah.
right? But then all of a sudden, she had a backstory.
Right.
So I was just, at one point, I was just like, what the heck is going on?
Yeah, I think she originally thought, and they did have similar backstories, right? They
Mm-hmm.
did. They had a hard time growing up. They didn't have everything. They didn't weren't given anything. They're both smart and capable from the outside. They had a
Yeah.
similar, and of course, she was also probably flattered by the fact that Madison saw her speak at the same private school and
Yeah.
was so encouraged to be a lawyer because of her. So I
Yeah.
think she thought, hey, this little silly intern, she's gonna be my Patsy, like you said. She's gonna slink around this house so I can make moves and no one thinks I'm
Any different, that
right.
I'm gone, that I'm still here.
Yeah, I don't think she had any further plans for her at that point until it was revealed to her, hey, your intern lied. She probably is a
Yeah.
mole.
Right. Like Olivia.
Yeah.
And that was the other thing too about this story, the pacing of it. Like, it was slow.
Mm-hmm.
It was slow. It did not get, the pace didn't pick up for me until like the 40, and I wrote it down. I think I was like at 44%.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when Madison had called, aka Uncle Ray, to find out about her brother who had gone missing.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, who is this? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, whatever, Olivia, which was the intern that was fired. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Then it started picking up for me. But I was like, this is fucking 44%.
Yeah, it took quite a bit to get going. And even once it did, I felt like the pace could have been a little faster even then.
Yeah. Yeah. I
Uh,
zoned out a few times.
oh,
I was just
no.
like, I did. I was just like, okay. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't, and I've read some reviews too, like, oh, this was fast paced. What a ride. And I was like,
Like, did we read the same book? Did we listen to the same performance?
yeah, because there was some low moments in this book for me.
I think the book was a little too long for what it was.
Yeah, 378 pages.
Yeah, it was a little long. She probably could have cut out like 30 to 40 pages and made a shorter book. Or okay, so I think for me personally, I think I like the narrator. I think she definitely added to the experience for me because I'm not sure how long this would have taken me had I had the Kindle version. I feel
I
like I would have kept
know.
putting it down.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I think the audio saved it and I did listen pretty fast. And I think at some point I had it on 2x. I kept
Okay.
fluctuating between like 1.7 or 1.8 and 2x, whatever. I can't remember, depending on what Audible allows. So it was like one below or 2x.
Okay.
Because I just, yeah, it was just taking a lot. The pacing was kind of wonky. And yeah, if it wasn't for the audiobook, I would have been pulling my hair out trying to get this done in time.
Exactly. Because I know at one point I was like at 60%, and then I looked and it said I had so many hours left. And I'm like, I've been listening to this for a long
You said how? Why?
Girl, I'm not kidding. That went back. And I'm like, how many freaking hours is this book?
Yeah.
And I'm like, how many? And then you think, like, at that point in the book, you're like, I got 40% more to go. What else do you have to say?
Mm-hmm.
What else? It's like, I basically already know you're a dirty judge. Not by omission.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying back a fucking debt. Your brother is crooked. It's your damn stepmother who's also crooked, Who else gonna die? How much more?
Honestly, I would have lost my mind if I was the judge. Like, everybody around me knows the secret but me. Like, she really didn't think Nancy had anything to do with that business.
No.
She had no clue until they sicked her on her.
And Nancy killed the one lawyer,
Mm-hmm.
Chloe's daddy. I'm just like, damn.
Nancy is a killer.
But this was the thing, like, when it happened, I'm just like, well, I mean, she was married to a fucking dirty cop gangster. And when Uncle Ray said she kept the books and blah, 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 I was like, so she wasn't above,
I can't help but wonder if that engagement with her, as far as like being a part of the books and stuff, I wonder if that didn't happen until after Catherine's father died, because it seemed like she was in an abusive relationship with him.
Yeah.
So I can't.
But yeah. But you know what, though? In those type of relationships, regardless of how the abuse goes, you're still, like, if you're told to do certain things, I think you still, even with abuse, because he said she kept the books. Mm-hmm. She was always a part of the business. Didn't Uncle Ray say that?
Yeah,
she was always a part of the business. She kept the books. So regardless of how abusive he was to her, she still did what she needed to do. Because, I mean, he slapped her around. Eddie slapped her around. But Catherine was still there. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. So regardless of how she felt, like he said, I pay the bills in here. I pay the mortgage. I do this, this, and that. Right? Did he tell her that?
He did. He did.
So when you think about those times and then that kind of relationship, it was either you do what I say or leave. And if she didn't have any other alternatives, she's taking care of the books.
Honestly, and that's why I think she treated Catherine so badly, is because she couldn't take out her frustration anywhere else but on her.
Yep. Exactly. I can't beat Ray's ass or Eddie's ass. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to treat her like shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. That is
but those
wild.
Were the times. So, but if you think about it, there's a lot of evil stepmothers out there. It ain't nothing new.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing new.
That's true.
And I mean, you think about it too, like, and I granted that girl had nothing to do with how she got here. But that was Nancy's way, or whatever the fuck her name was at the time, her way of getting back at her husband.
Yeah.
I'll just treat her, his child, like a piece of shit.
He didn't even do anything about it.
Her husband. Yeah, and then to have her husband killed.
Well, she thought, she tried to get away. That's the problem. They tried and they got busted, because I guess she learned her lesson, because the second time she went and got fake identities, she went on the dark web and did it.
Yeah.
She was very cocky. I mean, how do you think gangsters that run politicians and the police aren't going to be notified when you're trying to get a fake IDs? Yeah, how did you think you were going to do that in that city and not get ratted out? That was so silly to me. Like, really?
Yeah.
You think you are stronger than the mob?
Organized crime. Yeah, because, well, I'm a judge.
So? Judge? Your ass kill you and your husband.
Yeah, that was very scary.
And then the nerve for like Uncle Ray to act so betrayed at the end.
I know.
When he found out that her mother was actually now dying instead of dead before, he acted like, how dare you? I could have been sitting here singing to her. How dare you?
Girl, that irritated the entire hell out of me. I'm gonna sing her to glory.
Oh my God.
Daddy boy, or whatever the hell. I was like, if y'all don't get the fuck out of here with this shit.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Michelle. I'm sorry. But
that
was like,
I know that I have enjoyed Michelle's books much more than this.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I really like the legal thriller side of her.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'll go back with her psychological thriller because I listened to a little interview that she did, and she's like, "Yeah, I was doing kind of like the Gone Girl psychological thriller stuff with Stranger on the Beach
Which we
and
loved.
yeah, and something else, and I wanted to get back to my legal thriller background." And I'm like,
See, look, and I don't mind a good legal thriller, but
no,
it's like there was just something that just did not hit quite right. I feel like if you're gonna, it's like that phrase, in for a penny, in for a pound. Like if you're gonna do it, like go all the way off the rails and make it so drama and suspenseful. Because there are a lot of thrillers or suspense or whatever it is that are in the political realm that
yeah,
are a lot more exciting than this was.
yeah. Right. And I will say that I did appreciate the fact that she didn't do the courtroom drama stuff. Because,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times that's what they want to do with legal thrillers is the courtroom and the back and forth with the lawyers. And I enjoyed that. But yeah, I agree with you as well that if you're going to do this, make it really believable. I would have really enjoyed, as you had mentioned, if Madison would have went full force undercover, deep cover. Even if she
Yeah.
was gullible as a fuck, but she played that role to the hilt to save her brother. You know what I
Right.
mean? But she didn't. She did this to basically save fucking Catherine. That's how
Yes.
I felt with this story. That she went hard for Catherine and not her brother.
She
And I
did.
mean, it felt like it, she had, to save him and her career, her career goals. But in the end, it was, yes, Catherine, I understand. And whatever we need to do for you and Grace. No,
So
bitch.
after
Family is important. That's what they said. Family was important.
Oh God. After all of that, yeah, you're right. Saving her brother was the secondary mission. We'll help you. And because I help you, then my brother will be let go. Because
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. It was a second thought.
And then after all of that, so she's gone, right? She takes off with her kid. And Madison's whack ass is coming around with cans of tuna, trying to find her cat. The woman's cat. I'm like, fuck that cat. What are you doing?
Well, Lucy Cat was how she got her scholarship.
Yeah, so I guess she feels, again, I guess I owe her to take care of her mangy cat because she did give me a clothing allowance along with all my scholarship.
Girl.
I'm like, wait.
What the fuck kind of scholarship is this?
A retroactive scholarship that takes care of everything, and you get this, and a stipend, and for clothes. That is the crazy. It would have been better for Catherine to just drop her an account and slide her
a check,
something. Slide her
a
account numbers to a
stipend or something. Like she was giving her the little part. Yeah. Just like, really? You fucking feeding the cat?
Just give the woman one of those Cayman account numbers, slide it over to her, say, good luck with life. That's what she should have did. This crazy.
Peace out.
What? Yeah. Maybe she was trying to hide it in a scholarship. That's how she was trying to do. Maybe.
But
it's weird.
Okay. See, this is why I love you and how we feel about books because like I said, when I got finished with this book, I was not sure how I felt.
I didn't even write down a score yet because I was teetering, so I did not write down the score yet.
I didn't either because I was like, I'm not really sure. But I know for a fact that it wasn't a 4 or higher. I already knew that. Mm-hmm. But I knew that I was suffering.
Suffering.
I knew I was suffering from a book hangover
Mhm.
because here's the thing. We had already talked about our curve. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
so what is this, March?
Right.
We're in March. And we had already talked about, we had gone from David Ellis and granted our the first slide of wins was just an extra.
Yeah.
But after you get David Ellis and the first slide wins, and then you come here,
Mhm.
your expectation
Mhm.
is at a different level.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know if people understand like that book hangover thing. Like if we would have read this and then maybe David Ellis, I may be at a different level. I'm not really sure though, because we've done this so long that we kind of know like,
we know the tropes, right?
Yeah. And that's the hard part where you know what you know and you know what you like and what you don't like. And we don't do a lot of legal thrillers. But I will say the funny thing is like the beginning of this year, a lot of our books have been kind of like legal. Well, not a lot, but at least David Ellis was a legal thriller. So to go from David Ellis and then this, it's just like,
Yeah. It was definitely a big difference, like big and blaring and not in a good way.
No.
And I mean, I kind of didn't expect, and to be honest, I didn't expect a 5-star. I just didn't. I did not expect a 5-star.
I was hoping for
a 4-star because how much we liked that other book by her.
Yeah, right. Because we've waited a little bit with Michelle. Like I've read some Michelle in between, and I think I've even talked to you about. I can't remember which one out was it. It's Always the Husband or something. I was like, So we kind of waited with Michelle.
We did.
And
yeah, she also had The Wife That Knew Too Much in 2020.
And I
didn't even know about. I didn't even know about that. It didn't even hit my radar. Did you read that one?
I think I did. Let me check. I think let's see. The Wife Who Knew Too Much, I gave 3 stars. And I think after that, I was just like, yeah. Yeah, it was a 3 for that. And then, like I said, we were going to try her again. Not realizing this was going to be a legal thriller. I thought it was going to be more into her psychological thriller like Stranger on the Beach. So yeah, I'm, as you could tell from our conversation, that this is probably going to be lower than a 4.
Oh yeah. But the question is, is it a 3 or is it a 2? That's the question of the hour. We don't do halves on this show. So, okay. So the generous part of me wants to give it a 3. I want to give it a 3, but something is also pulling me toward a 2. Now the question is, the pull stronger to the 3 or stronger to the
2? I know. And I don't know if it's because I just finished it today and it hasn't settled in me. This is the funny part about this. We've done this before where we've talked through through a whole session, and then by the end, I still don't know.
And to me, that's bad that I don't know.
Shit.
Because honestly, for me, my my instant reaction a lot of the times is higher than after I think about it. After I think about it more, it drops.
Yeah.
It rarely gets better after I think about it.
Yeah. That's why I said shit. Because there are so many times after we've kind of talked this through and you're just like, you know what? After talking about this, I think my score has gone up.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, I can't definitively say it's increased.
Yeah.
It really hasn't. I'm just it's meh.
Yeah. And I think because technically I kind of classify meh as 3. It's fine. I feel like I want to throw it a Hail Mary and give it a 3.
I know, and we don't get
And who
halves, but
knows
I'm
if it's
like
going to
at
be a
that
3 when we talk about it with
2.5.
book club. It may not be a 3 anymore, but
I know.
Mhm. But you got to put something on Goodreads.
Right, not like Storygraph where you could go
That's
a
why we use the Goodreads,
3.25
because
or
guess what? They make you, they
2.75
force you.
or even Bookmore. You
No,
can go that one.
yeah, right. After show today, I want to talk about those kind of scales, because this is not school. You don't get no 0.25, 0.5, 0.75. Look, it is okay. I will talk about that later, but this is why.
Yeah, I know. This is like one of the most difficult, and it's only fucking March. Like, what is my score? What is my rating?
What is it, classy? Do 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 do. You gotta come up with something.
Shit.
She don't want to commit. She does not want to commit.
I do not. Damn.
We'll give it a temporary score and then reevaluate at book club if you need.
Okay. I'm gonna give it a 3 because it wasn't horrible, but damn. But there was some problematic things for me that I just did not like.
Yeah,
and I
same.
think this is the bad part is like I like her as an author for the other thing, and I have to separate. I'm just rating this book. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 3 right now, but I really think I'm gonna give it a 2.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah, it's just missing the draw in. It's missing, like we said, it needs more oomph. It needs a bigger surprise. Yeah, the stepmother was a twist, but I wasn't like dun dun dun. I wasn't like OMG.
Yeah, it wasn't. Because there was only 3 possible suspects that could have killed Mr. Kessler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now, if it was freaking Madison, I'd be like, what the But, we only knew it could have only been Ray, Wallace, or Nancy. Basically, at that point.
They were the 3 bad ones.
Yeah, there wasn't any really big twist or plot. There wasn't.
No. And the author had Catherine trying to imply that Ray was the head. He was just trying to say it was someone else so he could get out of being the bad guy.
Yeah.
But because we never heard who was the head, it was never more than these 3. It seemed like these 3 were pulling the chain.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about twist, I know hearing that Catherine had a baby was supposed to be another twist.
Yeah, but that didn't even faze me.
It was flat. It was flat.
Was so flat. So flat. Yeah, it did. I was just like, oh, okay, she had a baby. She was pregnant.
Yeah.
It did nothing, left my jaw dropping. Nothing. I was not floored at all. Yikes. No. Okay.
So, that's our rating, y'all. Let us know. Do you have anything else on this book?
No.
Okay. So, we're going to probably cover what we're reading next in the after show because we want to just solidify that. So if you're curious to know what we're reading next right now, right this very second, hop on over to the after show and find out. All right, I think that's it for today, and we'll see you guys in the next one. And until then, take care of yourselves. We appreciate you for listening. Bye, guys. Did you enjoy today's episode? If so, please head over to Apple Podcast or Spotify and leave a positive 5-star review. It's a simple action that makes a big difference. You can also like this episode on your favorite podcast player or share it with your fellow bookworm friends on social media. Joining the Shelf Addiction Patreon family is another way to support us. For as little as $2 a month, you can help our team create even more amazing bookish content. If Patreon isn't your thing, consider becoming a supporter on the Spreaker app for just $5 a month and gain access to exclusive audio-only content. You can find me everywhere, including Instagram, X, and TikTok under the handle Shelf Addiction. Join our book club of the same name on the book club's website and app, where we discuss all things bookish and more in a safe space. The Shelf Addiction podcast is a part of the Nerdy Maven Network. Thanks for tuning in.